Hello everyone, welcome back to my playthrough of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. This is episode 4. We're continuing on here. If this is the first video you clicked on and you want to know more of what happened in previous parts of the game, go ahead and check out those videos. We're going to continue where I saved. So we're in a part here. This girl just appeared, and yeah, she has this is kind of a turning point in the case. We haven't heard from her at all yet. We don't even know her name. But she's the assistant of the teacher, one of the professors of Ryunosuke and Kazuma, the main character, and his assistant. So here's the judge. Well, I understand you are the judicial assistant to the defense, but why this sudden ingress into my courtroom?
Ha! A judicial assistant, and a woman no less. The rules state that females are not permitted into this court of law other than to testify.
Yes, I fully understand. I ask for only 5 minutes of time. I have some vital evidence that I must hand over to the defense.
Huh! You're too late, little girl. This trial has already been concluded.
5 minutes. I will not allow a moment more.
But, Your Excellency...
I am most grateful.
Who exactly are you?
I'm sorry, there's no time. Please simply accept this for now.
Her name is Susato. What is it? A report about something? Written in English.
It's Giselle Brett's research. Ah, the English woman's? After the trial resumed earlier, I hurried back to the university. I went to Dr. Wilson's laboratory in the medical faculty and borrowed this paper.
Oh yes, that's right. Miss Brett was studying under the professor, wasn't she? So, does this research, whatever it is, have something to do with the case?
I'm afraid I don't know. I haven't been able to listen to the proceedings of the trial myself.
Oh, no, of course not. Special characteristics of a career and its effects on human subjects. Interesting. Career? What's that? I've never heard that word before. Personally, I've never heard it either.
Time's up. The prosecution demands the immediate removal of this female trespasser from the courtroom.
There was too little time for me to read it in detail. But I've summarized what I could on a note just inside the cover. If you think it could be valuable, please cast your eye over it.
This is wonderful. Thank you.
Goodbye then, and good luck.
You have had long enough, Counsel. We cannot detain our English guest any longer. I ask the prosecution and the defense now one last time. Does either side have any further evidence to present to the court? I presume not, but...
The prosecution has made its case convincingly enough already. Nothing more to add, Your Excellency.
Ryunosuke, we're out of options here. This really is our very last chance.
Yes, I know.
Your Excellency! The defense does have new evidence! That look. The unyielding stare of a true Japanese warrior. Well, Miss Brett?
Yes, Your Excellency. If you wouldn't mind, perhaps you could grace us with your presence a little longer. It's a delightful invitation, I'm afraid. It's not very long until tea time. I have to politely decline.
Forgive me, Miss Brett. It seems it wasn't clear. I realize it was phrased as a question. However, I must ask you to treat that as an order. That's cool.
I've said it many times before, but the Japanese language makes no sense.
My apologies, dear lady. Judge showing some sternness. So, counsel, what is this new evidence that demands the court's attention? Okay. Let's examine here. A poison. Giselle Brett has a notebook where she was researching poison. And that's exactly what we've been looking for in this case. Yeah. A poison made from the bark of certain trees in the jungles of South America. The hunters of the region have used it since ancient times in their to incapacitate their prey. Instant paralysis of the entire body and subsequent death, even in minute doses. Route of entry. The above-mentioned effects occur when the poison enters the body through a wound, such as that inflicted by a blowpipe dart. Due to its ability to render the human body paralytic, it's believed that the toxin could have application as an anesthetic. However, a solution for the respiratory arrest caused as a result of the full body paralysis must be found first, or patients would die of suffocation. Okay, so it's mentioning anesthesia there, which is also, I don't remember if it's mentioned in the report itself, or if it was in the conversation between Ryunosuke and Kazuma. But that was kind of a foreshadow, for sure, of this. Due to its ability to render the human body paralytic, it's believed that the toxin could have application as an anesthetic. Okay. Yeah, let's just go ahead and present it. Miss Giselle Brett, we understand you are studying under Dr. Wilson at Yumei University, doing research. Research by sheer coincidence, perhaps. Into a deadly poison. What? Poison? Where are you going with this, counsel? A toxin known as Carrere, Your Excellency. Even the slightest amount of this deadly poison entering the body leads to instant death. What? What complete and utter nonsense? Carrere, you say? I've never even heard of it. You wouldn't have done. What do you mean? I mean that you wouldn't have heard of Carrere before, for one very simple reason. It doesn't exist in our country. It doesn't exist? Correct. Which means, no matter what tests the police can do for the toxins, they'd never identify Carrere. Why? Because there is no test available here that can identify the presence of that highly deadly poison. Order, order! Counsel, does this deadly poison truly exist? According to this report authored by the visiting research student from England, Carrere has long been used by the tribespeople of South America as a poison. It seems that it's reasonably well known among European doctors and scientists. To lace their arrows? The report states that it is produced from the extract of a tree that grows deep in the Amazonian jungle.
and it was first brought back to Europe at the turn of the century by explorers. It claims that animals shot by arrows laced with curare suffer instant death. Doesn't that about sum it up, Miss Brett? I'm gonna take a drink here.
He would have been squirming and writhing in pain, and the other diners would have surely noticed.
That's true. What do you say to that, Inspector? Obviously, I would have noticed a disturbance like that. I don't remember anything like that either. I didn't notice the professor being in any kind of pain. According to this, however, it's the other way around.
What do you mean, the other way around?
The very fact that the victim didn't show any viable signs of distress is evidence that curare was used. Explain yourself, Counsel. The moment this toxin enters a person's system, it causes instant paralysis. In other words, afflicted victims lose all strength and are completely unable to move. Even if they were in total agony, there would be no visible signs of pain at all. How terrible! Obviously, if a man lost all strength in his muscles, he'd collapse on the floor. But with a chair under him for support, as Dr. Wilson did, the effects could go largely unnoticed. But I don't follow, Kazuma. That's just paralysis. I thought the poison caused instant death. The full explanation is extremely unpleasant. The poison causes immediate paralysis, as I said, leaving the victim unable to move. But after a short time, the paralysis is so severe it causes the muscles that control respiration to fail. Respiration? In other words, the actual cause of death is suffocation. And all the while the victim is conscious and aware, just unable to move.
That's hideous.
To the observer, it would look almost like the victim was slipping peacefully into an endless sleep. But for the victim himself, his final moments would be a living hell. And that is the true nature of this deadly curare poison. And you're suggesting that this bottle, Counsel, actually contains a terrifying poison?
Objection! This is all very convenient, isn't it? A hitherto unknown poison for which there is no means of testing? What a happy tale for the defense.
If I may.
All these facts. You think you're so clever?
It is you who must be taught.
Of course. Dear lady.
So, this is how you Japanese behave, is it? What? You steal another's honest hard work and then announce the results as if you discovered them? I'm appalled. What a loathsome act. Well, Miss Brett, the feeling is mutual. Whatever do you mean? Capitalizing on the unfortunate circumstances of an innocent man to frame him for a heinous crime? That really is a loathsome act. Wouldn't you agree?
Objection! Yeah, enough of this. I, for one, refuse to accept it. The idea of some poison that doesn't even exist in the great empire of Japan is breaking the rules.
What's so funny? Oh, excuse me. Your Excellency? Yes, Miss Brett? May I borrow that bottle for a moment, please? Well, yes, I don't see, why not? Don't get too big for your boots, you insignificant little island boys. Sorry. To an Englishwoman such as myself, this whole affair is farcical comedy? Whatever. Your little police games and these foolish courtroom antics. It's laughable, really. But I'm getting bored of it all now. It's time for the games to end. Cheers. Wait, what are you doing? No sparkle left at all. How appropriate for this shabby affair. Goodness. Whatever is the matter? You all look quite stunned. So, no cure. The bottle was clean. Is that what you're saying? You look quite incredulous, little boy. But of course, that's the simple truth. Thank you for presenting the findings of my research so concisely here in the grand venue. Most kind. Thank you, waiter. Now then, Your Excellency. Yes, Miss Brett? I should like to be excused now, please. I think I've given more than enough of my time for the furtherance of friendship between our countries. Yes, dear lady. We are most gratified with all the assistance you've given. This doesn't make sense. There had to have been poison in that bottle. So how did she... How did she swallow a whole glass and live to tell the tale? I don't understand it. I suppose if nothing else, it's not a Far Eastern charade. Will make for interesting conversation at the next party I attend in London. There has to have been poison in that bottle, doesn't there? There can't have been, because otherwise she would have keeled over dead. Come on, Ryunosuke. We have all the clues now. The bottle of water. This is kind of tense. Okay, I mean... I don't think it was in that bottle. She probably brought it from elsewhere. As I thought, there is no poison in that bottle. What? Why, Ryunosuke? Isn't it obvious? If there was poison in there, she'd be dead by now. Sometimes your unadulterated naivety really astounds me. But sometimes, it's in need of a good staining, until it's as dark as your uniform in the ways of the world. Oh, is that what color this is supposed to represent? What this color is supposed to represent? That was a guileless ending to a promising line of inquiry, Counsel, for which you will be penalized.
Well, I guess I got that wrong.
Ugh, this whole trial is poisoned. There has to have been poison in that bottle, doesn't there? But there can't have been, because otherwise she would have keeled over dead. Come on, Ryunosuke. We have all the clues now. That bottle of water.
I guess it contains poison.
The culprit did put Curare poison into Dr. Wilson's carbonated water. The defense refuses to change its position. You're serious?
Objection!
Fool! Are you blind? There is no possible way that bottle could contain poison. I mean, we just saw... Miss Brett drinking the water from it? That's right. Which rather complicates your argument, I think. And I believe that complication can be explained. How exactly? I need to think through all the things that don't quite add up here, one by one. I'm sure the answer is in the evidence we have in the court record somewhere. It has to be.
Okay, here we go.
Very well. If the defense truly intends to assert this claim. Then I must ask you to support the assertion with evidence. What explains how the witness was able to consume this supposedly poisoned water unscathed?
Alright. A solution for the respiratory arrest caused as a result of the full body paralysis must be found first. Could have an application that is an anesthetic. I mean, okay. I remember they said something about. Okay. Extraction with the use of anesthesia. I mean, they're talking about anesthetic right here. It says no. Okay. Okay, I don't know if I should present the blue one. Like, these are connected. So I don't know if I should present the Giselle's report first or medical report card. I mean, I have 2 more chances. I mean, I don't want to squander them. Okay, some of the language is like, to me, not totally clear. The other thing is that, what is this history thing? Oh, okay. Okay, I think I gotta show this one because I showed the book recently, and this one brings up the fact that he had anesthetic.
Yes.
Seems the defense, or should I say, the wretched accused, is the only real source of complication in this case.
Okay. Yeah. How they were able to drink it unscathed. I mean, I feel like the report kind of says it, yeah.
Yes.
The answer to this riddle is right here in Miss Brett's own research report.
That's not a valid explanation.
No?
After all. We don't speak English. That report is utter gibberish. This impudent young scoundrel is trying to ridicule the court, Your Excellency.
I'm not trying to ridicule anyone, honest. I'm just reading Susato-san's notes. I concur. This report is too extensive to be considered in its entirety by the court. You will direct us to the pertinent section, Counsel. Which section of the report reveals the alleged answer to the riddle?
Okay. Practical applications. It's written right here under practical applications, I think.
Oh, really? Go on.
Well, think about it. You want to know how the poison can be drunk without it taking effect? That's a practical application of the poison's use as a drink, maybe.
You'll have to do better than that. I shudder to think we'll fare in the 20th century if we're led by the likes of you.
Yes, yes.
What?
Ryunosuke.
What? Read properly. Thanks for the concise advice. Something that explains how the English woman could have taken Curare with no ill effects. I'd better reread her research paper and see if I can spot anything.
You don't have any more of a clue about that English tone than I do.
Man, I'm about to get a game over here.
I concur. This report is too extensive to be considered in the entirety by the court. You will direct us to the pertinent section, Counsel. Which section of the report reveals the alleged answer to the riddle?
Okay. When the poison enters the body through a wound. I mean, yeah, like it's not in a wound, so it can't be that first page. Maybe it is, but gonna go with special characteristics. Well, the music stops open. This is probably right. It's left me curious about something. Well, it sounds as though indigenous hunters have been using this poison for years and years to lace the heads of the arrows that they shoot at whatever prey they're hunting. So we've been led to believe, yes. And the point of hunting is to catch prey to eat.
Get to the point, please.
But if they were to use these laced arrows, doesn't that mean there would be traces of poison left in the prey the hunters are going to eat? Yes, good point. So surely the hunters wouldn't want to eat their prey, would they? Because then they'd be eating poison.
Good gracious, Counsel. No, that would be madness.
But I actually found the answer to that conundrum. In this research paper here, under special characteristics, it says this. The poison starts to work after entering the body through a wound.
Through a wound, you say? I see, that makes sense.
Yes, the mention of that particular detail seems strange to me, though. But it makes sense when you interpret what's written like this. When Curare enters the body through an open wound, it has terrifying poisonous effects. However, when it enters the body via the mouth, it has no poisonous effects whatsoever.
What?
Miss Brett, you authored this research. You knew Curare's special characteristics. And you knew that you could make a spectacle of drinking that water without any danger.
You meddling little...
Rapscallion! Well, Ryunosuke, it turns out you're an even better lawyer than I thought you'd be.
Really? Me? A lawyer?
Objection!
All this poison talk is fascinating, I'm sure, but I fail to see how it possibly...
So, the ill-bred little puppy has a new toy to play with. Some facts he read in a book. But I'm afraid knowledge doesn't suit you, little boy. It only makes you look silly.
What are you trying to say?
Your schoolboyish logic has a fatal flaw. Schoolboyish?
Flaw?
As even your brain has managed to deduce, Curare is safe to ingest. It seems unlikely that its effects are neutralized by the acidic nature of its gastric...
Oh, yes, well, of course.
Gastric suckers?
What are they?
So if this lethal poison is completely harmless when drunk, then Professor wouldn't have died when he swallowed it, would he?
Yeah, it went in through his tooth.
That's right!
Good gracious! That's basic science. Science that even a schoolboy should be able to understand, no?
Order! Order in the court! Order!
The logic holds. If the lady and the professor drank the same poison, they would be affected in the same way. Are you trying to suggest?
Yes, this Curare poison is completely irrelevant to the case on trial.
That's right. Surely even a little cockroach like you could understand something as simple as that. What is this? Welling up inside me. I've never felt this before. It's a sort of conviction to break down all the discrepancies. It's so intense, almost rage-like. And more than anything else, it's an animalistic desire to take down my prey. Ugh!
Objection!
I don't think so, Miss Giselle Brett. How dare you use that tone with me? You know very well that there's no fatal flaw here. You know exactly why, even though both you and the victim swallowed the same poison. You are alive, but Dr. Wilson is dead. Counsel, I'm sure I don't need to remind you, you must provide compelling evidence. As we now know that this poison is completely harmless when ingested. Why would Dr. Wilson alone would have been killed by the Curer?
Yeah, it's right here.
Take that!
As Miss Brett so readily pointed out, she drank the same water as the professor. However, there was a fundamental and fatal difference between the two diners. A fatal difference? Oh. The toxic effects of Curer are only felt when the poison enters the body through an open wound. So, for a healthy person with no injuries, drinking it's completely harmless. But what if there was a wound inside the mouth of the person drinking the poison water?
Inside?
Yes, like the wound you might have if you had just been to the dentist and had a tooth extracted, for example. Miss Brett, you've acknowledged many times in your testimony already that you were well aware of Dr. Wilson's dental appointment that day. So that's it. You use that knowledge to orchestrate this. Is she laughing? I don't like to repeat myself, but honestly, I can't resist. These childish courtroom games and your half-baked arguments are all so puerile. What do you mean? Don't worry, little schoolboy. You'll find out soon enough. You see, when you leave vital evidence lying around, you never know what might happen to it. No! I mean, it could just slip. Oh dear. How careless of me. I'm afraid some crucial evidence may have just been tragically destroyed. No! What is it? What just happened? It's the Englishwoman. She just smashed a bottle, and in the Supreme Court. What a terrible blunder.
Officer, what are you waiting for? Collect up as much of the water from the broken bottle as possible at once.
You're wasting your time. This delightful carpet under my feet was a gift from the British Empire. I assure you, it will soak up the water beautifully. You have neither the technology nor the presence of mind to recover it. How could you? You won't get away with this. You can thump the bench and shout as much as you can thump the bench and shout as much as you like, little boy. But I'm afraid we'll never know now, will we? If there really was poison in the bottle or not. And let us not forget, we still have some very compelling evidence left intact. Isn't that right, counsel for the prosecution?
Oh, of course, of course. You're referring to this photographic print, I presume, dear lady.
That's right. And really, looking at this photograph, it's as clear as day, isn't it? The poor professor was sitting with his back to me. So, of course, the only person who could have shot him from the front is the little schoolboy.
Objection!
No! You killed the victim that day, using Curer. And then, in order to frame Ryunosuke Naruhodo for the crime, you waited until he picked up the pistol you'd arranged for him to find on the floor, before you shot the professor's dead body in the chest with your own hidden gun. Then, in the confusion that followed, all you had to do was turn the dead professor and his chair around. You see? You had every opportunity to commit this crime. What a wonderful imagination you have, young man. A hidden gun, you say? Well, I'm terribly sorry, but you haven't a shred of evidence.
Exactly. And as you have nothing to support your wild claims, the prosecution's stance remains unchanged. The victim, Dr. John H. Wilson, was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Delivered in cold blood by the accused Ryunosuke and Naruhodo. Ugh.
This is unbelievable. How can this be happening? We had her, but now, is she really going to get away with it? The way she just destroyed evidence was obscene. Ryunosuke. Yes? We've come this far, but now you're the only one who can finish it. What? What do you mean? We've lost a vital piece of evidence, it's true. So if there are any clues for us left for us to use now, they must be in your head. In my head? You told me before that your powers of observation were the one thing you could really depend on. Well, yes, that's true, but I didn't manage to notice that this woman was a foreigner with a swan on her head. So think back again now. Try to remember every last detail about the scene that day. Everything you saw, everything you felt, every color, every smell. What I saw, what I felt, every color. Is Kazuma right? Somewhere in the vibrant memory of this same scene in my head? Could there be another clue to expose the identity of Dr. Wilson's killer? Well, let's check the court record. There's no way to tell the color there. And I have one last try on the line here. I don't even know where it sends you if you get the game over and you didn't save. And might as well save there. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, is this? I guess this is referring to a clue. To a clue. I mean, yeah. Sure. Actually, Kazuma, I think I might have something. Thinking back over everything I saw, I think I might have uncovered another clue. You always have something up your sleeve, don't you, Ryunosuke? Come on then! Let's wipe the smug face off that English woman's face. Smug smile off the English woman's face. Alright! I can't wait! It's been niggling me for a while. Something feels amiss in my memories for that day. Whatever it is, could be the key to arriving at the truth about all this. It's here somewhere. A clue that shows Dr. Wilson's real killer must have been is...
Take that!
Inspector Ozonaga, answer me this. Yes? What is it? He's still miles away. Probably thinking about that bottle he smashed. Being smashed. As you've said a number of times now, you strive for perfection in your investigations, don't you? I wonder if perhaps you took anything else from the scene of the crime. Like, for instance, the plate of steak that you took to the victim's table that day.
Objection!
Wait a minute. Where are you going with it?
Where are you going with this, little boy? It's just a memory that's been troubling me. What memory? I saw the scene shown in the photographic print. And I saw on the wooden base of the plate that the steak was served on was a spattering of blood. What? Oh, really? And what of it? Obviously, that must have happened when you shot the professor. No, that can't be the case. Take a good look at the photograph and the relative position of everything there. The plate of steak is almost directly behind the victim. If I'm supposed to have shot Dr. Wilson in the chest from the front, there's no way the blood from the victim could have ended up directly behind him. Ah! Yes. For blood to have made it onto the plate, it implies the plate was between the victim and the shooter, which means the shooter must have been sitting opposite the professor as you were. Giselle Brett? I beg your pardon?
Objection!
This is beyond ridiculous. Fabricated nonsense. Is the court seriously expected to believe something the accused has apparently just remembered as a sign?
This could be the moment that my entire career in the police force has been leading to. Inspector? You mean... Yes, I took the plate. In the interest of preserving evidence from the scene of the crime. I took it, meat and all. And I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief because of it. You did what? I took the steak that you'd been eating, Miss Brett. I took the steak that the sergeant had been eating. And I did it all. In the name of justice. Then we can find out for sure whether or not there's a blood stain on Miss Brett's plate. We must examine it now.
Inspector. The court wishes to examine the plate from the victim's table immediately. Sorry for the delay. Here is what you ordered. The steak. Well, what about the blood? Is there blood on it?
Well, of course there isn't.
Quickly, Inspector. The blood, man. Show the court. Of course. Examine the plate at your leisure. No. No blood. No blood anywhere. But no, that's impossible! I know I saw it. I'm sure of it. It was right there on the table behind the professor. There was blood on the side of the plate. What's an unbecoming expression, little boy? You see, this is why I always say you can't trust what the Japanese tell you. Ugh.
I couldn't agree more. In the case of this disgrace of the Empire.
I believe we finally have reached a conclusion in this trial. Let's hope so. This let's pretend attempt at courtroom proceedings is painful to watch. But I will promise to do my best to forget all about it when it's over.
This sorry-looking steak reveals the facts all too clearly. If the sorry-looking accused wishes to examine it again, be my guest.
Was the plate I saw, or thought I saw, just a figment of my imagination? This is it now. I've lost. Ryunosuke? It's not over yet. Not until the final gavel. Never stop believing in yourself. Keep looking forward, no matter what. Believe in myself? Really? Maybe I should at least examine the evidence for myself. As the evidence requested by the defense is not shown to be problematic in any way, I presume any further examination of this evidence will be unnecessary to the trial. Does the defense have any objection? That bloodstain was going to clinch the trial for me. Can this plate of steak reveal any other clues at all? Just checking something real quick, folks. Just checking something real quick, folks. Just checking something real quick, folks. With the stream, that is. Okay. Trying to check if the sound works on this. Check if the sound works on this. Check if the sound works on this.
Okay. Can you hear the game music over there? Anyone in the in the chat? All right. Well, if you can't hear the game audio, then you know. Let me check one last time. Sorry for the delay. Okay, yeah, it seems like the sound works. I was just kind of scared there that this whole session the sound wasn't working. But I'm glad it was. Okay. Can this plate of steak reveal any other clues at all? Okay. I mean, let's take a look. Man, I want a nice steak, bruh. Huh? What the? What in the world is this? I think it's a Koban coin. And the hallmark is from the Hoei era. No, no. I don't mean what is it. I mean, what's it doing here? Wait. Did you say it was a Hoei Koban? Yes, and apart from the meat juices, it looks to be in good condition. I imagine it's very valuable. This isn't the first time there's been a talk of a Hoei Koban. I've heard of pearls before swine, but I've never heard of a bullion in a bullion. I don't think you ever will again. This is extraordinary, though. This means... I certainly never expected to find a precious coin underneath this thick cut of meat. And it's from the Hoei era too. That would make it really quite valuable. It's well marinated in the juices as well. Look. What, are you thinking of eating it? No, no. But the next time I order a steak in an expensive restaurant, one thing's for sure. My heart's going to be racing as I lift up the meat and peer underneath for a prize. I think you might have the wrong end of the stick about this, Ryunosuke. Koban coin underneath this steak. There's only one logical explanation. I don't know what a Koban coin is. What? When was that talked about before? People? Maybe by this guy. Yeah. Yeah, there's another clue. Your Excellency, please, wait! This plate of beef is hiding another clue. Another clue that will reveal the shocking truth.
Objection!
The only thing that's shocking here is your unhealthy fascination with beef steak.
Your Excellency, I think I've made myself clear, haven't I?
I will not be able to turn a blind eye to any more unnecessary procrastination in this trial. I'm sorry, Miss Brett, but we must ensure a thorough examination of the evidence. I will not give a ruling until I'm completely satisfied that all reasonable doubt has been dispelled.
I see. As a newly affirmed ally of my country, that's still your position, is it?
Thank you, Your Excellency. Counsel for the defense, you will now clearly show the court what you are alluding.
More precisely on this plate of beef is the new clue found.
The stake has got to move out of the way. Yeah.
Huh? What in the world is this?
Oh, okay. We already went through all of this. Just waiting to get through this dialogue again here. Okay. Where precisely on? Are you serious? Oh, it's doing... Oh, I thought it was going to present it by me clicking on it. I'm just doing the court record, like, examination thing right now.
Got it!
Good gracious, that's...
Oh, autoplay.
Colban? What on earth?
Oh, era 1 at that. Miss Brett? This is in fact the beefsteak you ordered at the restaurant on the day of the incident, isn't it? Tell me, why is there an old coin seemingly hidden underneath the meat?
What a ridiculous question! How should I know? I've never seen that thing before in my life. I don't know what it is, but I want no part of it. I fail to see how this is relevant. A coin under the meat? That could simply have been a careless mistake by the chef in the moment of distraction. Oh.
Don't be absurd. We're supposed to believe that this happened by accident in the kitchen? A rare Hohe Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak? If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll rip up my ticket to Great Britain right now! He's right. It can't be a coincidence. Your Excellency? Yes, Consul? A rare Hohe Koban just happens to be hidden underneath a piece of steak? If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll give up my lawyer job right now!
Objection!
By all means, don't let us stop you. No one invited you anyway.
Perhaps, little boy, you should realize that it is you who is irrelevant. Even though I'm the one on trial here.
The point is, it's essential that we ask the owner of this coin if he can explain what it's doing under that steak.
The owner? Yes, it's obvious. There's only one person it can belong to. The owner of the Koban was... Yeah.
Take that!
Obviously, it can only be the antiques dealer and the owner, Rasute Kiryu Korekuta-san. Kiryu, as in my cucumber or something? Honestly, these ridiculous Japanese names are quite unfathomable. Rasute Kiryu Korekuta-san. Cutie? As in Mr. Cucumber or something? The old man who testified earlier alongside the military sergeant, correct? Yes, Your Excellency. I remember him saying that he was up to something with his Koban coin when it happened. At exactly the moment the gun was fired. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor. Too
Busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing?
Hunting for treasure. Indeed. Ahoy, Erakoban, my prized coin.
Then this way, Erakoban. Do you mean to tell me?
No. Please. Why would Korekuta-san's koban be sandwiched between the victim's beefsteak and its plate? It makes no sense.
Yes!
Which is why I'm asking to bring Korekuta-san back to the witness stand so we can ask him. Officer! Bring both witnesses that testified earlier back in here. Without a moment's delay. I can't believe we've come back around to that pair again. But I have a hunch, a strong hunch, that if we chase down the real significance of this koban, we'll find that it's a key element in the case. This looks like a to be continued moment. I guess not. This baby thing is so ridiculous.
What's this all about? Why have I been called up again? Don't you realize it's dinner time for the little boy idol? When my son's belly is empty, he's fiercer than a pack of wolves.
Exploited by the police we were, like miserable dogs forced to bear false witness. And when cast from this courtroom myself, I became a ruined man in a trice, a worthless withered antique. Nothing more have I to say. The sun has set on this Rasute shop owner's existence.
Be that as it may, Korekuta-san, something has come to light that requires your clarification. As far as your Rasute memory serves, have you ever...
Yes, that's it! That's the one, the very one! The very exact one, that is! The resplendent, splendiferous hoy! Treasure that my rusty bone... Man, that was too fast.
It can't be.
As I thought.
Shout out to the knife landing on the sergeant's foot. Enlighten this decrepit old fool. Put me out of my misery. Where was my treasure? Where was it dropped?
Oh, I'm not sure if it was dropped anywhere. We found your coin sandwiched between a beefsteak and its plate, soaking in the seasoned meat's juices.
Sandwiched? Soaking? Seriously?
Clearly it couldn't have fallen there by accident. Which means somebody must have hidden it there on purpose.
Somebody concealed my hoy treasure between a slab of meat and a metal plate? Who would do such a thing? Such an unconscionable thing?
Excuse me. Could I say something? Yes, of course. Proceed, Inspector Hosonaga. I mentioned this earlier in the trial, but I was working undercover in the restaurant in order to investigate another case.
Ah, yes, that's right. The secret undercover operation.
La Carnival is a high-class Western cuisine restaurant. It attracts wealthy diners, including many foreigners. Recently, there's been a run of similarly executed thefts targeting the restaurant's rich clientele. A number of such incidents have been reported to the police bureau. Wicked crimes indeed. We wanted to nip the case in the bud quickly, especially with so many foreigners being affected. So that's why you were sent in undercover, isn't it? Yes. I took on the job of waiter at the restaurant in order to flush out the criminal. It seems likely that this Koban incident is the work of the same thief. So unbeknownst to us, there was a master thief at work in the restaurant on a regular basis. The place was already the scene of several crimes, it seems. I don't know about the master thief part, but the identity of the person who stole and hid Korekuta-san's koban is clear.
What? What?
I think the court would like to hear the defense's view on this matter. Tell us, who's the despicable scoundrel that stole Korekuta-san's koban and hid it under the stake? Alright, well, it's not Kazuma. It's not, Yujin. It's not Taketsuchi Auchi. Wait. I mean, why would they bring this guy in here? Wow, bro. Yeah, I'm gonna have to save here. Okay, I mean, I haven't... I don't even remember what this J. Jonah Jameson guy even said in his testimony. Because... Okay, so the only possibilities are Mr. Wilson himself, Korekuta, Jazel Brett, I mean, it's one of these two. How would the woman have even... Man, I'm gonna lose on this one. Man, this would be super edgy if I said Dr. John H. Wilson was the guy who stole the koban and hid it under the stake. Well, that would explain why he has the mark on his hand. Because he stuck it under there when it was delivered, and that's when it was hot. And he was trying to... It had to have been on him for... Wow. Alright, man. I mean, this is real imaginative, but I'm gonna go with Dr. John H. Wilson as the guy who stuck it under the plate.
Take that!
Man, this is insane. Yes. Seems like a likely... That seems like a canned answer. No! Come on, Ryunosuke. Huh? You shocked me, Kazuma. Not as much as you shocked me. No one could have approached the table unnoticed. Even if you're a crazy fool, you couldn't have missed that. I'm not sure you should be calling Korekuta-san a crazy fool, Kazuma. It's you I was calling a crazy fool. Ah, maybe I'm on the wrong track here. Oh, wow. That will do.
Oh, this is game over. All right. Yeah. That was not it, man. Let's see what the checking the history here. I was checking if Nosa had you know, revealed something earlier in this conversation. But not really. I mean, am I just overthinking this? Is it just Giselle Brett? Is that it? Whatever, I'm just... Whatever.
Take that!
Okay, the music stopped. It can only be you! Oh, autoplay. Sergeant Ayanosa! What? How? How dare you? You monster! Monster? I sold that Koban, did I? I'm the master thief of La Carnival, am I? You're seriously accusing me of these crimes, cadet? But it wasn't me. It was Ido. Ido was the mastermind behind all this. Huh? Hmm? You would push the blame for your crimes onto your own son, an innocent little baby? It's you who's the monster, Sergeant Nosa. You. Clippity cloppity, clippity cloppity, clippity clop, clippity clop. Gaga! What on earth is happening? Nippon Imperial Army Sergeant Ayanosa, preparing to stand down in the Supreme Court, sir. What just happened?
Do any of you know of the extraordinary low wages the Nippon Imperial Army pays those it expects to keep our country safe? I understand that the temporary increase in taxation owing to the recently ended conflicts remains in place. I've heard it's hard for lower-ranking soldiers to make a living, yes. All I want is to put a hot meal on the table for my son.
That's why you were stealing things at the restaurant?
The place is heaving with money. Every 3 days I'd go there and do reconnaissance for a target. And I'd enjoy chomping my way through a good steak at the same time.
Sounds like he doesn't bother with a knife and fork even, which is worryingly believable. And your target that day was the old man in his koban?
Yes, sir. He was an easy mark. I slipped the coin into my pocket without any trouble at all.
A veritable phantom thief you are.
I was all set to leave the steak. I was halfway through devouring.
Yes, when the professor was shot.
I knew that if the police conducted a search and found the coin in my pocket, I'd be finished. Idle too. So I had the incriminating evidence as fast as I could on the double. I slipped it under the steak, hoping that I'd be able to rendezvous with it again at a later date.
This is ridiculous.
Perhaps you could carry on with this absurd prattling in your own time.
Well, Miss Brett?
Oh, of course, dear lady, of course. How rude of us. I'm quite sure there's no need to detain you any longer at all. May the esteemed gentlewoman please be excused, Your Excellency?
Indeed. The theft of the koban was clearly perpetrated by this baby-saddled sergeant. It would certainly appear to be unrelated to Dr. Wilson's murder.
Of course it is. Hiding a coin under a lump of meat? The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me.
Nonsense, is it?
Well...
And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without a knife and a fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness.
Very well. Now that all the questions concerning this witness's testimony have been answered, I see no further justification for detaining her. Miss Brett, you are free to leave.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Good luck, everyone. And good day.
Nosuke, what's the matter with you? This is no time for daydreaming.
Oh, no. It's just...
Something about Miss Brett's parting words there got me thinking. I can't quite work out what exactly, but something she said jarred with me. I feel like there was a contradiction in there somewhere. Something didn't quite add up. If that's the case, don't just stand there thinking. Make your voice heard. Sorry? You can think later, but if you don't call out now, it'll be too late. The trial will be over.
Hold it!
No, wait, Miss Brett! What is it now? I'm afraid. Just one last time. There's something I'd like to ask you. I'd like you to explain the contradiction in your parting words from just a few moments ago. What are you talking about? What contradiction?
Objection!
What new student nonsense is this?
Well, what parting words are you talking about, Ryunosuke? Hiding a coin under a lump of meat? The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness. Yes, I'm right. What she said there exposed an undeniable contradiction. I'm going to need to see evidence, Counsel. If Miss Brett's words are truly contradictory, where is the evidence to prove it? Yeah, knife. I mean, there's just a knife and fork right there.
Take that!
A photographic print of the scene taken immediately after the incident occurred. What's interesting is the plate of steak that you can see on the victim's table. The steak that Miss Brett had been eating before the professor was killed, yes? Go on. More accurately, Your Excellency. The steak that was on the victim's table just before the professor was killed.
And now you're just splitting hairs.
Not true. Doesn't something about this steak strike you as very unnatural?
Unnatural? What on earth do you mean?
It's extremely obvious. I'm talking about the shape of the edge where it's been eaten. I see you've noticed it too, Miss Brett. Notice what exactly, Counsel? Just a few moments ago, Miss Brett claimed no Englishman could even contemplate picking up a steak and biting into it without using a knife and a fork.
Of course she did. She's a refined English gentlewoman herself.
And take a good look at this steak, in particular, the edge where it's been eaten. As you can see, there are clearly defined barbaric teeth marks there. Looks like Miss Brett has realized something. So, if the witness, as she claims, wouldn't contemplate eating anything without using a knife and fork, there shouldn't be teeth marks in the steak at all.
Objection!
But what is your actual point? Perhaps the delightful Miss Brett was ravenously hungry and couldn't help her. Whatever you say, dear lady.
As I said, I really must be leaving now. Afternoon tea with the Minister of Justice cannot possibly wait any longer.
Of course. This will all be over in the blink of an eye. Rest assured, I'm about to put this rookie in his place. Just leave. Oh.
I've heard enough! You irritating little spectacled samurai.
Wait, what did she say?
Relic. What's the matter, Miss Brett? Have we ruffled your feathers? Clearly, the witness knows what this means. She's realized the catastrophic implications these teeth marks in the steak have for her. Ryunosuke, do you know where you're going with this? Yes, now at last, it's all come together. The mysterious teeth marks in the steak, allegedly eaten with cutlery. The reason why the blood stain I know I saw somehow seems to have disappeared. And most importantly, the evidence that proves once and for all who shot Dr. Wilson that day.
I
I accept that these teeth marks on the steak are a little unnatural, as you put it, Counsel. But what exactly are you suggesting that tells us?
Everything, Your Excellency.
Everything?
Yes, I believe that these barbaric teeth marks in the steak here amount to conclusive evidence in this case. Evidence that will prove beyond any doubt who shot Dr. Wilson. Conclusive evidence? How many times have I heard that today? You wouldn't know the meaning of that phrase, typical Japanese empty threats. How can you be so sure? Oh, it's quite simple. If you really had such conclusive evidence, you would have presented it to the court long ago. Actually, the evidence I'm talking about hasn't been brought before the court yet. Oh, man.
Hasn't been... what?
But just because it hasn't been shown yet doesn't mean that the evidence does not exist.
Objection!
This is absurd. The trial has run several hours already, and you say there's evidence yet to be shown? There can't be. I don't believe you have it.
I don't. But there is someone who does have it. Someone in this very courtroom. And if that person's willing to submit the piece of evidence I'm referring to, it will solve every remaining mystery about this case. Very well. I have a feeling this will be my last request of defense in this trial. Who possesses the conclusive evidence that will reveal the truth about this whole affair? Barbaric teeth marks. Wow. I mean, like his teeth are this guy has had the bleeding thing from his mouth for so long. What is that even about? I mean, he probably has it because he's the one who took all the evidence, right?
Take that!
Here we go. The answer is obvious. It's Inspector Hosonaga.
What? I have it?
Yes. You think I've been withholding conclusive evidence? That's ridiculous. No, I'm not saying that. Oh, I was saying that before. Yes. Now, earlier this afternoon, Sergeant Nosa told the court the following. I'd enjoy chomping my way through a good steak. And as well as admitting to stealing Korakuta-san's coin, he told us that he slipped it under the steak. You watch it, cadet. I'm a superior officer. Sergeant Nosa, could you please confirm something for me? Was the steak that you put the coin under, in fact, your own steak? Teen-shun! Affirmative, of course. I might be a soldier in the Imperial Nippon Army, but I'm not brave enough to ask foreign gentlelady if she'd mind me manhandling her meat. In other words, the steak that the detective submitted as evidence earlier was in fact Sergeant Nosa's meal.
Objection!
But that makes no sense. That plate was taken from the victim's table.
Objection!
Yet the gentlewoman doesn't take bites out of her steak, nor did she have any opportunity to steal the coin.
Of course I didn't steal it. To even suggest such a thing would be an affront to the entire British Empire.
Well then, how do you explain this paradox?
Exactly. Surely you're not going to suggest that the sergeant switched the two steaks over. You did switch the plates?
Well, after it happened, when I saw the civilian had been murdered right in front of my eyes like that, I panicked. As I said, I immediately lifted my steak and hid the coin underneath it. But then, when the waiter announced he was an undercover policeman, I thought I had it. If he decided to investigate my slab of meat, that'd be it. I'd be getting my marching orders. So when the cadet here was arrested and taken off to the kitchen, I seized my chance. With military precision and timing, I switched my steak with the one on the foreign lady's table.
What? You can't have. I never saw you do such a thing.
It was called Operation Lightning Bolt. There was no time for strategic planning. It was do or die, I tell you. So yes, I did what had to be done.
Unbelievable.
However, fear not, prosecutor son.
What now?
I swear on the brass buttons of my uniform that it's all I did, sir.
All you did? Oh, that's plenty, Sergeant.
Yes!
So, Sergeant knows to switch the plates over. It means he took Miss Brett's steak and the plate it was on back to his own table. Yes, that follows. Inspector Hosonaga? Yes. Earlier in this trial, you told the court this. You said that you had not only taken Miss Brett's steak after the incident, but also the sergeant's. That to preserve evidence, you had taken both. That's correct. And please present it to the court now. The plate that was actually on the victim's table at the precise moment he was shot.
Shut up!
What can that possibly tell us now? I mean, a cold slab of tough meat. It can't have the slightest bearing on the case.
No, you're not wriggling your way out of it this time, lady.
I beg your pardon.
Surely you're not that forgetful. Surely you remember the reason why this steak pan promises to prove such a problem for you, no?
You're the ones who decided it was a problem, not me.
The reason the defense asked to see the plate was to confirm something the defendant remembers seeing.
Thinks he remembers.
I'm quite sure of what I saw, Miss Brett. On the side of the plate that was on the table directly behind Dr. Wilson, there was a clear spattering of blood from the gunshot wound to the victim's chest. I believe the defendant's memory serves him well. And now we have the evidence to prove it. The plate you were eating from, Miss Brett. Let us not prolong this any further. Inspector, you will show the evidence to the court. Present the beefsteak and plate that was originally on the victim's table at the time of the incident. Yes, sir.
Sorry for keeping you. Here is the other steak and its plate. Please, feel free to examine it. It's clearly visible. Look!
Yes!
Now this makes everything clear. The blood you can see on the side of the plate shows that at the moment the victim was shot, he was facing the table with his back to me. In other words, it's impossible for Naruhodo-san to have shot the victim. Ah!
It can't be.
In fact, there's only one person who could possibly have shot Dr. Wilson from the front. I'm sure everyone knows by now who that person is. That's right. Miss Giselle Brett. It's you! Outdone by a Japanese? Me? By a Japanese schoolboy? No, no, no!
What on earth? What? Oh, okay. She's back.
Please excuse my little outburst. I briefly lost my composure. Most unbecoming behavior for an English gentlewoman. Forgive me. Well, Miss Brett? I think it's time you told the court what actually happened that day. The truth this time.
Here we go.
Gladly, Your Excellency. It was I who took the professor's life, using Carrere. As you surmised, I chose that particular day for one very important reason. The professor had a dental appointment for the extraction of one of his teeth in the morning. So you planned to kill the professor, knowing that no trace of poison would be found in his water. Because Carrere is unheard of here in Japan. Yes. Of course. I never intended to remain at the restaurant for as long as I did. I only needed the professor to take one tiny sip of his water, and this would all be over. I would place the steak I had ordered in front of him to make it appear as though he had been dining alone, and leave immediately. However, before any of that happened, there was an unexpected visitor at the professor's table. That would be me, I suppose. Yes, you. Who else? Such a trifling matter. But the fact you decided to come over to greet the professor meant that I had lost my chance to slip away unnoticed. In due course, the professor took a sip of his water and was paralyzed. I made sure he was sitting in his chair such that he wouldn't fall. There was no going back at that point. So I concocted a plan on the spur of the moment. A plan to pin Dr. Wilson's murder on this innocent man. I happen to know that the professor always carried a gun. I decided to use that fact to my advantage. I had the bottle of Carrere in my handbag, And my own pistol concealed under my skirt.
Under your skirt?
So I was right. There were 2 guns. Yes. And then I finished my coffee and got up to leave. That's when I noticed the professor's gun, which you had presumably placed on the floor. Placed where you were sure that I would notice it. And everything went according to plan. Oh, you noticed the gun as I had intended. And then, just as you had bent down to pick it up, that's when you shot the professor with your own gun. Even though at that point he was already dead. Naturally, the gunshot caused a commotion, at which point the waiter appeared. Obviously, I assumed Naruhodo-san was the culprit and apprehended him. I took him to the pantry that adjoins the kitchen and locked him inside. That's when I took the opportunity to turn the professor in his chair around. Because of course, you needed to make it look like the defendant had shot Dr. Wilson from where he'd picked up the gun. So there you have it. That is the entirety of my misdemeanor. Yes. I wonder. Might I speak with you in private later? I shall call on you. Thank you. Good day then, everyone. I hope you can forgive me, Naruhodo-san.
It would seem this trial has finally run its course. I presume the prosecution is in agreement.
This can't be. Taketsuchi Ouchi does not lose. Not to the likes of this rookie student.
You'd better start getting used to tough opposition.
Ryunosuke Naruhodo!
What? Yes?
This insult to the Ouchi family name will never be forgotten.
You've become conceited with age, Counsel. But the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that.
Ah!
1,000 millennia may pass, and still the Ouchi clan will never measure up to the Naruhodo clan.
This trial at the Supreme Court of Japan will, I believe, go down in history as the start of a new chapter in our country's judicial system. Despite being summoned as the accused, you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, presented an excellent case.
I thank you, Your Excellency.
The use of evidence and deduction to unravel the truth is a modern methodology. After all, it's only been a few short decades since our country opened its doors to the wider world. But the Western ideas of science are rapidly gaining acceptance here. I feel sure that the science will soon bring new methods of investigation and new procedures of justice. A new future of law awaits, but what it will look like, I cannot begin to imagine.
That is for the young to pursue. Kazumo Asogi?
Yes?
After this trial, you are set to embark on a journey of discovery to the illustrious British Empire. Learn all you can. Absorb everything of the wider world that you are able to. And do not forget to fulfill the mission imposed upon you.
I understand, Your Excellency. What was that about? Why do you look so grave all of a sudden? Never mind.
As for you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo,
Oh, yes?
in you I sense, how can I put it, unusual potential. I very much look forward to seeing how you carry that onwards.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
It is time to deliver the final verdict. I hereby find the defendant Ryunosuke Naruhodo not guilty. This court is now adjourned.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna save it there. And pick up next time. Right from this part right here. Thank you guys for joining. We'll see you next time.